I know, chasing that dough, hitting that road, getting that money, man. All I know, loading that foe, kicking down doors, getting that money, man. We gon' make it money. We gon' take it Grizzly. We gon' make it money. We gon' take it Grizzly.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is, according to sources, particularly Mike Coppinger of ESPN, Canelo Alvarez is in talks to fight Jermall Charlo on May 7th. Let's take a look at what he had to say when he was on, I believe, Max on Boxing. Oh, no.
He's going to be fighting at cruiserweight or against Nakamura. Well, Bernardo, first off, I'm not so sure that Canelo is going to be fighting at cruiserweight or against Nakamura. I'm hearing that it's much more likely that he's going to fight Jermall Charlo on Cinco de Mayo. There are talks right now for that fight. And if he is going to go to cruiserweight, though, I think it would be a mistake. I mean, look at the cautionary tale of Roy Jones Jr. Jones goes up to heavyweight, beats John Ruiz, wins the heavyweight title, then drops back down to fight Antonio Tarver and gets, he struggles in the first fight and then knocked out in the second fight, and he was never the same. So I don't think you can yo-yo and wait over and over. As Tim would know better than us as a fighter. I think it's dangerous. I think it's risky, and I would right now in January, still early, but I would look for Canelo right now to probably fight Jermall Charlo.
So I just want to know if this guy in the comment section, Fonz Arroyo, watches the Boxing Bros, because he said Jermall better work on defense because Canelo will turn that six-pack into some barbecue rib tips. So, I just want to know if that person watches the Bros. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm going to turn it over to Chef G. What's your reaction to the news that Canelo's in talks to fight Jermall Charlo?
I love it. And I actually disagree with homie, man, when he was talking about the yo-yoing and weight. I mean, now I'm a bigger guy, but we're talking about 7 pounds. I think Canelo could easily drop back down to 168 without a problem, so I don't really think that's much of a major issue for this fight, unless they're talking about 160, but I'm assuming they're talking about 168. So what's the issue? So I like this fight a lot. The boxing community been asking for this fight. I think this is going to be great for both gentlemen, because, like, with what's his name, Caleb Plant. No one really was like Caleb Plant's going to win, but there's way more people that are on the Charlo train that really thinks Charlo could take this one. So I think this will be a huge fight for Canelo's career. It'll definitely be entertaining. Both gentlemen have a great style that's pleasing to casuals. So yeah, man, I'm excited. Hopefully they can lock it down, and I can't wait for May 7th.
All right, Trill Dog Bill.
Good fight. If they can make it happen, why not? The guy that was talking about the yo-yo and up in weight, I think he was talking about Canelo going up to cruiserweight and fighting Abuka, whatever his name is, and then coming all the way back down again to fight at 168. But I don't think that would be the plan. I think that if Canelo was to go and fight the cruiserweight champion, the WBC cruiserweight champion, I think after that, if he go down, he wouldn't go back down to a 168. I think that he would go down to a 175 and challenge for a belt there. There's guys like Bivol, and there's guys like Beterbiev, and there's also the guy who fought last night, Joe Joe Smith, the blue collar worker from New York, right? He easily fight that guy and snatch one of that WBO belt from him. So I think that if he does go to cruiserweight, I think his next step after that will be a 175 and get one of these guys belts if they don't make the Arthur Beterbiev fight with Joe Smith fight happen. And he can go there and fight either one of those guys. So I don't think that he would go from cruiserweight and back down to 168. I think he would go to cruiserweight and then go to 175. But talking about the Charlo fight. If they can make that fight happen, why not? I think that would be an exciting fight. My only problem is that these guys haven't prepared themselves to fight somebody like a Canelo Alvarez. I would love to see Charlo get in there with those other guys at 168 before he get in there with a Canelo, and maybe move up to 175 and he can meet Canelo there when Canelo becomes undisputed at 175. I'm just speaking, some stuff into existence if it could happen, But I'm just saying, I just want these guys to have a better chance. I would love for Charlo to have a great chance against the Canelo. And I would think that maybe seeing him fight the other guys at 168 will prepare him so we can have a real competitive fight where we can be like, Canelo's not leaving with something. You know what I'm saying? Like the young man mentioned in the comment section. Because G has also mentioned before, it's Canelo. He every time he fights somebody, he's taking something, right? When you like to see a kid that is prepared, and this could be an exciting fight, and it's prepared when we don't know the outcome. All these other fights, like we know the outcome, we know the outcome. Like I want to see him in a competitive fight where it's 50-50 and both guys got a good chance of winning. And the only way that these guys can fight a Canelo is if they fight each other. So I'm sorry to keep going on, guys, but I would love to see him fight. I want to follow the boss of boss, so I don't want to talk because we got the subject coming up later. But I would love to see him fight the other guys at 168 and get him more experience before fighting the Canelo. But it's still an exciting fight. I'm sure it's going to get people's attention.
TBE.
Trell, I thought you were gonna say he was gonna leave with a twin, man, because when Canelo leave with something, he gonna leave, and that's 50-50 right there. But if Canelo fights Jermall Charlo, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I'm a big believer in Canelo's moving on up.
Vigorexia, baby.
Yep, you feel me? And but all seriousness, Canelo fighting Charlo, that'd be an amazing fight. That'd be a big step up for Charlo because I don't know anybody on his resume that's a caliber of Canelo that brings that type of caliber that Canelo brings. And if it happens, it happens. Right now it's talks, but Jermall, this is shot. Take it, don't back down. You're a talented fighter. You're known in your division. You fighting Canelo is just an opportunity that you shouldn't throw away. And you've been saying this man's name. And if this is really in the works, make it happen.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing this fight if they make it. I do think that Jermall Charlo has all the tools to make it a very difficult fight for Canelo, mainly because not only does he have boxing ability, but he has power. And if you look at the guys who Canelo has beaten, like Caleb Plant, he's not a puncher. He couldn't even knock out Caleb Truax. So he beat him for the majority for 12 rounds, but he didn't hurt him. He didn't stop him. Billy Joe Saunders isn't known as a puncher. So, you have that. And seeing him in there with Charlo would be a guy who can punch and has boxing skills. So it adds a different dynamic. Could he land a punch that would turn things around? Of course, we've seen Canelo in there with Triple G, and Triple G wasn't able to knock out Canelo or hurt Canelo, and he landed some good punches on him. But again, this is still a different guy. I think he has the tools and he has the skill set to make it a difficult fight. The question is going to be, as Trill pointed out, given the lack of opposition on his resume, is he going to be able to perform on those big lights? That's the question. And for me, what I'm starting to see around the landscape of boxing is when guys lack that marquee win before they go in there with, say, a guy like Canelo, they have imposter syndrome. They don't know if they belong. And I'll cite the key reasons why. If you're in the middle of a fight with Canelo and you're like, not bad, huh? Pretty good, huh? Not bad for blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you not realize that you're fighting him? Like, you got the fight already. if you want to convince him that you're not bad, just win, baby. That's it. That's when you would get your respect. You're in the middle of the fight looking for respect. Devin Haney beats Jorge Linares and ask about Vasily Lomachenko. I'm 100% confident Vasily's never had a fight and went in the locker room and said to someone, am I as fast as Devin? Am I as good as Devin? It's like, yo, these dudes don't even know they belong. It's like imposter syndrome across the board. And I think that comes from, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they post, regardless of what they do, they know deep down inside that they're not being tested in deep waters. They know that. And they know that when they fight Canelo, despite what they say, despite all the things they try to do, they know deep down inside that they're stepping it up. So for me, the question is going to be, what's Jermall Charlo's self-belief in himself in a fight with Canelo? Is he going to have imposter syndrome? Because if he is, yeah, Canelo's leaving with something again. Is he going to be confident in his ability? Does he think he belongs? Is he showing up to win? Because then I think he can make it difficult. Even if he loses, I think he can make it difficult. And, he has a skill set that maybe he could win. But it all starts with his belief in himself. And I really don't know, because everyone acts tough in the press conference. Everyone acts tough in the build-up. Everyone, but really it's in here, what you do. So I really don't know. But I think if he takes this fight, I would salute him just on that, because he's taking a major step up.
Mm-hmm. And if I could add too, Canelo doesn't need to take this fight. So if this fight does happen, like, think about all the naysayers, especially on boxing Twitter. Anytime they try to discredit Canelo, they always bring up Charlo's name. Now, if Canelo beats or knocks out Charlo, then what? So salute to Canelo, man, because now he could literally reign, and there could be no complaints unless you want to bring up Boo Boo. But I doubt people are going to do that. You know what I mean? So this is definitely a great fight for Canelo's career as well.
Listen, when you're at the top, it's always going to be somebody else.
True. True.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and please check us out on Instagram and Twitter, and check out our podcast on all major streaming services. This is our 100th podcast episode, and you are rocking with the Boxing Bros.
100.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.